We all have a phobia. Whether big or small, it can sneak into our brains and create a feeling of discomfort and terror. In this video, we'll discover together the 15 worst human phobias. Be warned. Some of the following images may be quite disturbing. 15. Arachnophobia. An ancient aversion dating back to cave-dwelling times, arachnophobia is the visceral fear of spiders, manifesting as a deep and often irrational repulsion. The mere thought of a spider can trigger cold sweats, trembling hands, and a heart pounding like war drums. It may stem from a close encounter at a young age or from tales of venomous spiders passed down through generations. This phobia can turn a simple outing into a nightmare, with the constant fear that a spider might suddenly appear. 14. Megalophobia. Megalophobia is characterized by a persistent and overwhelming fear of large objects or spaces. Individuals with megalophobia may experience a variety of symptoms when they think about, see, or are near large objects. These symptoms can include shaking, sweating, rapid heart rate, dizziness, shortness of breath, and a strong urge to flee the situation. While the exact causes of megalophobia are not fully understood, it is believed to stem from a combination of genetic predispositions, personal experiences, and environmental factors. A fear of large objects may be related to their overwhelming presence or the feeling of being dwarfed or overpowered by their size. Megalophobia can significantly affect a person's quality of life. It may lead to avoidance of places where large objects are present, such as avoiding travel to cities with tall buildings or abstaining from visiting natural wonders like large lakes or mountains. This avoidance can limit personal and professional opportunities and lead to social isolation. Is there also a phobia of subscribing to YouTube channels and liking videos? Show you're not afraid by hitting that like button and subscribing to the channel. But jokes aside, let's continue. 13. Ophidiophobia. An ancestral fear nestled in human DNA, Ophidiophobia is the fear of snakes that can strike even in the absence of real danger. The sight of a snake can trigger an instinctive flight response, with a racing heart and paralyzing anxiety. Often rooted in stories of venomous snakes or an evolutionary survival instinct, this phobia can be exacerbated by negative cultural representations. Those with ophidiophobia may avoid places like woods or countryside and even forego trips to exotic locations for fear of unwanted encounters. 12. Acrophobia. Acrophobia is the dizzying terror of heights, a fear that can make legs wobble and vision blur when looking down from the edge of a precipice. Dizziness, nausea, and an irresistible urge to cling to something solid are common, as well as a sense of panic that can immobilize. It's not always clear but may include a combination of genetic, environmental, and personal factors. Acrophobia can make it impossible to enjoy activities like climbing or simply admiring the view from a balcony. 11. Thalassophobia. Thalassophobia is the persistent and intense fear of deep bodies of water, such as the ocean, seas, or lakes. When exposed to deep open water or even just thinking about it or seeing pictures, individuals with thalassophobia may experience physical and psychological symptoms. These can include rapid heart rate, trembling, sweating, shortness of breath, lightheadedness, and anxiety. Thalassophobia can stem from a fear of the great unknown lurking beneath the water's surface. The darkness, vastness, and the idea of unfamiliar sea creatures can contribute to this fear. For those affected, thalassophobia can lead to unease around any large body of water, not just the ocean. Even looking at pictures or contemplating being far from land while in the water can be terrifying. 9. Nyctophobia. Nyctophobia is the fear of darkness, often associated with the fear of the unknown that darkness represents. Experiencing severe anxiety, nightmares, or even physical symptoms like nausea and dizziness when in the dark or thinking about it. It may develop from a traumatic experience in the dark or be a lingering childhood fear that persists into adulthood. It can disrupt sleep patterns and lead to a reluctance to go out at night, affecting one's social life and mental health. 9. Claustrophobia. Claustrophobia is the fear of enclosed spaces, where the walls seem to close in, and escape feels impossible. Panic, rapid heartbeat, sweating, and a desperate need to flee confined spaces like elevators or small rooms. Often linked to traumatic experiences or a feeling of helplessness in tight spaces. It can lead to avoiding crowded elevators, subways, or even airplanes. 8. Chorophobia. Chorophobia is the fear of clowns. anxiety, trembling, and discomfort when encountering clowns or clown-related imagery, often associated with negative portrayals of clowns in media or childhood experiences. It can lead to avoiding circuses, children's parties, or any situation where clowns might appear. 7. Aerophobia. Aerophobia is the fear of soaring through the skies, a terror that chains those affected to the ground. It can manifest as anxiety that grows days before a flight, culminating in a panic that grips the chest as the plane takes off. It can be triggered by a turbulent flight or news of air accidents, but also by a deeper fear of losing control. This phobia can close the doors to the world, making work trips or vacations difficult or impossible. 6. Cynophobia. Cynophobia is the fear that barks in the darkness, an irrational fear of dogs that can be triggered even by the friendliest of animals. An encounter with a dog can cause a racing heartbeat and anxiety that screams avoidance. Often linked to a traumatic experience, this phobia can also be the result of stories of dog attacks. It can lead to changing paths to avoid dogs or giving up social visits where dogs might be present. 5. Astrophobia. Astrophobia is the uncontrollable fear of thunderstorms, a fear that can shake the very foundations of the soul at the sound of thunder. An approaching storm can trigger growing anxiety, with a frantic search for safe shelter. It may be linked to a frightening childhood experience or simply a feeling of vulnerability in the face of nature's power. This phobia can force travel plans to be revised and lead to staying indoors during storm seasons. 4. Trypanophobia. Trypanophobia is the sharp terror of needles, a fear that can cause fainting at the mere thought of an injection. The sight of a needle can cause dizziness and fainting, with anxiety that can block the pursuit of medical care. It may arise from a painful hospital experience or an innate sensitivity to physical pain. This phobia can lead to avoiding vaccinations and medical treatments, putting health at risk. 3. Social phobia. Social phobia is the fear of being in the spotlight, a fear that can silence the voice and freeze the smile in the presence of others. Symptoms. It can manifest as paralyzing anxiety before social events, with avoidance that can lead to isolation. It may stem from embarrassing experiences or deep-seated personal insecurity. It can affect the ability to work, study, or simply interact with others, limiting social relationships. 2. Agoraphobia. Agoraphobia is the fear of open spaces and crowded places, a terror that can imprison you at home and make the outside world a threatening place. It can lead to avoiding open or crowded spaces and depending on a trusted companion when going out. It often develops after a panic attack in a public place, leaving a lasting imprint of fear. It can drastically limit independence and freedom of movement, affecting every aspect of daily life. 1. Mysophobia. Mysophobia is the obsession with cleanliness, a fear of germs that can turn every surface into an invisible enemy. It can manifest as compulsive cleaning rituals and constant anxiety about contamination. It may be linked to a need for control or health concerns, often exacerbated by epidemics or pandemics. It can lead to social isolation and a life constrained by cleaning rituals that consume time and energy. Did you manage to watch this video all the way through? Congratulations! Maybe you're not afraid of anything, but if you have any phobias, let us know in the comments. I hope you don't have a keyboards phobia. See you soon!